Welcome back to another amazing video, guys. It's your boy back at it again with another big body banger. Today we're going to be covering a topic off of Ask a German on Reddit. It's a thread, r/Ask a German. Discovered it a few weeks ago, and it opens up a lot of very interesting questions about Germany and, very interesting things that you wouldn't think about, because these are honestly asked by people who are there or people who are traveling to the country and stuff like that and have a lot on their mind. So the questions you see on there, some of them are expected, and some of them are very unexpected. Today we're going to be covering something that's very more on the unexpected side, right? Because to give you guys some background on what we're about to talk about, I remember living in Chicago, and one of the most common things with any big city is the homeless population. You have a lot of people that are on the street begging for money, begging for change. Some people that do that, it's come out that it has been a scam that certain people use to make extra side money, and some people genuinely do it. But I did notice that in more touristy areas, people are more willing to give money to beggars and stuff like that. They're more willing to give food than in areas that are less populated or lower income. So today we're going to be covering a question that was asked on r/Ask a German, which is giving to beggars. How many of you are in favor of giving coins to beggars in the city? So as we go through this video and review the answers and stuff like that, I want you guys to go ahead and comment down below what you think about this, if this is an issue in Germany and stuff like that. And I know you guys have programs and stuff to kind of counter homelessness and whatnot. So this will be a very interesting video for sure. But let's not waste any time. Let's get into this thing. Make sure you subscribe, like the video for sure before we get started, and let's get into it. All right, it says giving to beggars. How many of you guys are in favor of giving coins to beggars in the city? Let's go read the entire thing so we know what we're working with. It says, I heard a lot from my friends that usually those people are forced by some groups to do this, and this money collected is not being put to good use. I feel bad sometimes for not giving something to someone I feel might genuinely need it. What do you guys do in such a situation? Do you prefer to avoid this at all, or give some time to time? Don't understand that. I'm pretty sure it's like, do you prefer to avoid this at all, or do you prefer to give this some thought? Anyways, boom. So better buy the magazines from the sellers. Those are part of a program, so, and not a scam. So okay, so people who sell magazines. Someone underneath it says, not always true though. Magazines are produced as a means for self-help. Sellers are asked to beg and sell the magazines. However, Eastern European beggars use the magazines, often older issues, as a cover for their begging. Interesting. Oh God. Someone else says, so that's why the Eastern European lady near my shop was using a Korean newspaper the other day, and it's a full-time job, as that spot is never empty. When she's not there, probably back home for a few months, there's another lady waiting there until she comes back. Okay, so unfortunately, there are clans here that actually specialize in this. Have a look when they leave and where they go. Here in Kreuzberg, they are regularly being picked up by their leads and in S-Class bins. So sad that this mixes up with honest people in need of help, which is one thing I wanted to talk about. Obviously, like, we would all, to some degree, like to help people who are less fortunate and stuff, especially people who are homeless. I mean, who wants to be? I've actually been homeless before, so that was an uncomfortable situation, but I never begged for money. I actually found some friends that were willing to take me in, and I used that to try to get a job, and I did get a job, and I was able to sustain myself, and I wound up joining the military, and now I'm here. So I've been in a situation like that, and it's very uncomfortable, but I feel like, taking some initiative to pull yourself out is huge. But on the flip side, being a person who has been a part of that, the question is, am I willing to help someone that is homeless? And the thing is, for me, I have to sit down and have a conversation with them to see, like, what direction they're going in. If I genuinely want to help somebody, right? Like, I'm not going to just throw money at somebody and walk away, because a lot of times, from my experience, a lot of the beggars that I came across, you would give them money, they would take that money, and if you watched them, they would low-key go buy drugs with that money. And while the money was meant to help their well-being, like get some food or toiletries to make sure that they're being taken care of and they're not, like, catching all kinds of weird diseases on the street, they would use that to self-indulge. So there's probably deeper reasons to why people are on the street begging. You know what I mean? Like, Because begging, I feel like you have to be at an all-time low to be doing that. Have absolutely no other options and whatnot. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Let me know in the comments down below. Boom. Underneath that, it says Berlin has about 2,000 people living in the streets. Why does it feel like it's much more? Because of criminal groups organizing professional beggars. I donate to NGOs helping the homeless so as not to support organized crime. The Jenny De La Torre Foundation is working for a worthy cause. Good people, worthy of support. Boom. All right, so another person here says, I'm not giving money. There are just too many beggars in Dusseldorf. What I do instead is donate to a local homeless organization or helping homeless people getting housing and medical help. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Another one says, I'm volunteering with homeless programs. Also helps a ton. Awesome. Used to live in Oststraße, basically on the one U-Bahn station or one U-Bahn station away from the main station. I stopped giving them money when I lived there. Too many to count. Most of them come up with the same scammy excuse every day. Sometimes you see people getting picked up in the expensive cars, 50-50. It's not what it used to be either. Way too many people standing in really awkward places and look at you angry. When I was younger, it was less guilt trippy. I'm pretty sure the founder of 50-50, that's the local homeless people newspaper, by the way, also said that he has real trouble with people that aren't homeless joining the program because it's easy money since they have or had a good reputation, but he doesn't know what to do because he can't tell if the people getting the papers are actually homeless or not. That's really messed up. And I feel like there are a lot of programs that are meant with very good intentions. They're meant to help people who are less fortunate and bring them on their feet. Welfare programs, that's their whole purpose, to help people who are not as fortunate, who are mistreated, get on their feet. But unfortunately, a lot of people take kindness for weakness and violently abuse the system, you know, with all kinds of, like, you know, scams and you know, tricks and things to really mess it up for a lot of people. And it's really bad. It's really bad. I wish that people were more altruistic or just selfless, but unfortunately most people are incredibly selfish and they see an easy way to make money. They do that. My favorites were the ones asking for money for the shelter, then sleeping in the U-Bahn station surrounded by heroin, cooking utilities. They buy on HBF, but when it's cold, they cook up at Oststraße because there's no federal police. And as I said, the next station is only 5 minutes by foot. Bam. Another one. It's annoying. A few months ago, some cleaning girl, maybe mid-20s, asked me for money. As soon as I said no, she started to cry. That's the moment I knew it was the right decision. Oh, dang. I once noticed a crying girl at night in front of a taxi stand. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me she had been robbed and couldn't afford a taxi home. I paid for it. In hindsight, I realized she could have just told the driver to wait for a few minutes while she went inside to get some money. But either way, I'm a woman, and I'm not leaving another woman alone at night with no money and no real way to get herself into a safe situation. If it was a scam, whatever, I can live with that. Honestly, that's a good person. Whoever this is right here, similar yellow, you're a good person. That's solid. I mean, I would much rather like help somebody out that I can see is clearly like in need of help, or it looks like they're in need of help, even if it's a possible scam, then have them be outside by themselves and get taken advantage of. You know, now, would I personally go out of my way to do this with every single person I see in a situation like this? Absolutely not. But if I can help and I know that it won't hurt myself in any way, shape, or form, like the situation won't hurt myself and it's not breaking the bank, then why not? You know, why not? Sorry that you can't spot a scam, but I know crocodile tears when I see them. She could have at least tried a little bit more. What the heck? I wasn't saying that what you encountered wasn't a scam. It certainly sounds like it. If she didn't have any reason at all to ask you ask you for money. You were approached by the girl. I approached her. She seemed very embarrassed about crying in public. I think that's the major difference. Oh, okay. So this lady right here approached the woman that was crying. The lady wasn't begging. She was just frustrated. That makes sense. And then this other person in the comments is kind of just being, you know, annoying. Anyways, whatever you do, don't give them coins from your wallet. So whatever you do, don't give them coins from your wallet, because begging gangs are also pickpocketing gangs, and they will want to know where you have your wallet. If you want to give, have your coins in your pockets instead. I occasionally give to street musicians. Some people also give to ragged guys with dogs. If it's women begging, you can be sure they have to deliver all they got to their begging pimp. Are you serious? They have? Like, hold on. First off, I've read several of these comments already, and it seems like there's a begging system in Germany. Like, from what it seems like here, there's a begging system in Germany? What? What is going on, man? So, it's like a organized crime begging system. Like, people beg, they collect their money, they give it to the head guy. They might get a cut, not a lot, and then they go back on the street and do begging again. That's insane. Okay. Upvote for street musicians and performers. They work hard for that money. True, they do a very good job. There is a rule: if a musician on the street makes you stop because you want to listen, you give them some money. That's true. Absolutely. That's a really good rule of thumb. If they start playing Despacito, though, I'm standing up and walking to another train car. I swear to God, that song's been beaten into the ground. All right, boom. If I'm going grocery shopping, I try to give them some food, otherwise just some money. I think it would be more beneficial to give a homeless person money, or not money, food than money. Food and a little bit of knowledge, like maybe like food and a flyer for, like, you know, job offers and stuff like that. Food and maybe toiletries, like soap, water, like things that they can clean themselves up with, because I feel like if you are fed and you have, you know, things that you can take care of your body with, you know, you can go to a gym or a public area with like a public bathroom type thing. We have those here. I know in Germany there's not really too many public bathrooms, but you know, I feel like if you can finagle yourself in a situation like that, you can make yourself look presentable. And while you are presentable, you can actively search for jobs and things of that nature, something that will put something in your pocket. Anything. Working for a donut stand, working for a small, like, hole in the wall fast food restaurant, something's got to give, you know? But once again, guys, I want to hear what you guys have to say about this whole situation, like what your opinions are on this in the comments down below, because I know here in the States, a lot of people are very willing to help homeless people, but over the years, it's become less likely that homeless people would be getting as much money as they would have gotten like a decade or two ago, because there's been so many scams. Now, I did not ever know that there was like a whole organization behind that. And come to think of it, that's insane too. I knew that there were people faking being homeless and usually, you know, scamming people and going home and stuff like that. So 50% of the people that were there were doing it to just make a quick bag, and there's not a lot to make begging, by the way, unless you're in very populated areas. Like I said, if you're on a very populated street with a lot of big name brand stores and stuff like that, there's a lot of rich people walking up and down those streets, so the likelihood of them feeling bad for a homeless person is kind of high, and the likelihood of you getting a decent amount of money is kind of high as well. So that happens a lot. But then I had no idea that there were organizations that literally like specialized in hustling people on the street through begging. That is insane to me. That to me is wild. All right, cool. So in this next little blurb we have, this is from Mapa. In my neighborhood, there's at least one beggar in front of each grocery store. There's one at Lidl, another at Edeka, and so on and so on. These people place an empty cup in front of them. Some shoppers put change from the bakery store in. I never did that. I sometimes buy a pack of water and give them one, or sometimes a piece of bread. They didn't show up every day, so I think they might get some help from the local authorities too. There is, however, another type of beggar, the kind that you might find at the train station. These people just randomly approach someone and ask for 5 to 10 euro. Oh my fucking god, dude. They usually say something like, could you give me 5, maybe 10 euro so I can continue with the train? These are scammers. And I choose to ignore these people every time. Yeah. Oh my god, dude. And this is another thing too. I've seen people beg with kids, yo. Like, there was a lady I remember in Chicago. She would literally have like her 3 kids next to her and say like, no money for hotel, and you know, father kicked us all out, and blah 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 blah, you know. And then all the kids look super dirty. The mom looks like a mess, ripped up clothes and everything. And I'm like, damn, I felt bad, so of course I gave him some money. And then of course, like, literally, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm just curious. I'm like, what happens at the end of the day? I had nothing to do, so I kind of just hung around the area and kind of watched, you know. Then I saw her get the kids up. They started walking, so I kind of followed behind them for a little bit, just on foot. And then I saw them like walk into this like really dark overhang, like it's like a bridge, but it's like a on top of this bridge though, it's like a next level of traffic and stuff like that. So it's like almost like, I can't say it's underground because it wasn't underground, but it was under like the second level of like flooring for the city and shit like that. But anyway, she parked under there, and she got in her car with her kids. She took her stuff off, and she drove off. And I'm like, damn. And the car was relatively new. It wasn't the newest car, but it was a newer car. It could have been like 3 or 4 years older. But she took off, and I'm like, damn, what the hell? Y'all were out there like for a safe 6 hours begging for money, and you guys got a lot. Like they literally had an entire like cup full of, and by cup it was like a bucket full of money, and they like walked off with that, hopped in the car, took off. Now, in that kind of situation, like, yes, it's obviously a scam, but I didn't feel too bad because at least I would assume it's at least going to the kids. So, you know, it sucks, but you know, it is what it is. You guys let me know in the comments down below, like, what's a weird experience you've had with like people asking for money, you know? Because I've heard some very interesting stories. I've seen some very interesting stories play out and stuff. Basically, one time me and my friend were with his dad. We were walking to school, and there was a homeless person begging for money. Like, he's like, hey, I need money, da da da. And so we all stop. We all go inside this nearby Starbucks. We all get like breakfast and stuff, a coffee and a pastry a piece. And then my friend's dad, I'll never forget it, he ordered a coffee and a coffee pastry. We call it like a coffee bread. So coffee bread and a coffee. We call it coffee bread because it's bread you eat with coffee. It does not taste like coffee at all. Anyways, so he had this little meal. He gave it to the homeless guy, and before he could even fully like give it to him, the homeless dude smacked it out of his hand. He's like, I want money, not food. I want fucking money. And so I'm like, oh no. And then I think I lost a lot of respect for all homeless people after that, even though I know that not everybody's situation is the same. Most people's situation is not the same. It just sucks when you encounter people like that, because then it ruins the giving nature for other people who actually probably need help. And that sucks. Boom. But it says, if there are beggars with children, I buy them more McNuggets or a pretzel while out, but I never give them money in hand. A lot of times those poor people are trafficked into doing things like this, and their watcher is never too far behind. On the bright side, they get to have a break and something to eat for them and their kids as well. That's true. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I fucked up and gave them money, but I should have been giving like food out and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm more likely now to give someone food if I feel like they need it than, you know, money. You know what I mean? Like, money is a hell of a drug, dude. Money is one hell of a drug. Anyways, I would give the chance to change. I would give the change to musicians. At least they're working for their money and filling the streets with life. That's true. A few weeks ago, I gave €2 to one in a weak moment when he surprised me. At the moment, I wanted to get the first bite of my kebab. In spite of saying thanks, he wanted more. Unbelievable. Oh, wow. That fucking sucks, man. I ignore them. It's amplifying the problem, not helping reduce it. True. That's another thing I thought about too. If you beg for money and people actually give you money and stuff like that, then it worked. Which means, technically, in theory, right? Why stop what has already been working? More people start begging because they're like, oh, there could be someone else who's in a similar situation but doesn't beg for money. But then they look at someone else begging for money and see that they get something from people, and they're like, you know what, I want to start begging too. And so it does create issues, I feel like. But it's a very interesting topic, man. Very interesting. Boom. Meh, you can see who gets to keep it and who has to give it to some criminals. I learned at the age of maybe 14 that you should be careful who you give your money to. When a beggar came to me and I gave her a little bit, she started berating me that it wasn't enough. That's the shit that pisses me off, man. That's fucking oh, that's terrible. Boom. Well, you don't have to be homeless in Germany. At least it should be that way. So no money from me. But I feel like that program, there's not, okay, so yes, that's a very great program in Germany, but I also feel like, because I've heard that even though there's programs that prevent you from being homeless in Germany, that it doesn't take in everybody. I feel like there's like a cap, right? So let me see. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not actually in Germany myself, and I don't know very much about the program. Maybe literally like every single person in Germany could be getting a stipend from the government as long as they're actively looking for a job and they can be a part of that, the welfare system and stuff like that, you know? But I don't know. Like, I've heard that like there's some unlucky cases where people literally try to get that, and that's not like a thing out there. But that's very, very, very not common for people to not be able to get into that program if that actually needed in Germany. But I've seen a few situations, or at least heard of a few situations that were very similar to that, just from you know, stories of people that knew other individuals that were you know, in situations like that in Germany. But yeah, so underneath this, it's like, yeah, that's the thing too. You don't really have to be homeless in Germany. You can very well request help, and you're getting that help no matter what. That's required by law. For one person, a 1-bedroom, sometimes even 2-bedroom apartments get paid for. Plus you get extra money to spend on, exist on. You don't have to be homeless. They want to be, which is fine. But being homeless is almost more lucrative if you don't care about a roof over your head, I assume. A lot of people are very generous. Interesting. Zombie says he's from Rhineland-Pfalz. He's like, that's not true. Unfortunately, there are foreigners who are not eligible for help, and that is what that's what I meant, and that makes a lot of sense. So if you're a German citizen, then you're 100% going to be helped. But if you're not a German citizen and you're living there, then there's obviously other problems, because you got to come on and get your citizenship in order. But yeah, like I said, everybody's story is different. And people with untreated mental health conditions and other misfortunes that cannot go through the long bureaucratic process for financial help. That's insane. Once you are homeless, it becomes very hard because you don't have an address, etc. And a lot of homeless people don't even have people they can lean on to use addresses for. Boom. Nordrhein-Westfalen says, that's not how reality works. Jesus, stop talking about such topics when you haven't got a single clue what it's actually like. No, not everybody gets help, not even a fraction of the people who apply for it. What Germany do you think you live in? Some utopia that helps everyone and everything? No, it's an endless loop of bureaucracy for many people who don't have the means to even apply to such programs and often get denied due to lack of ID, etc. Do you think people think that hundreds of thousands of homeless people we have in this country do this for fun? That's also another thing too, man. And I guess I apologize for what I said earlier about like when I was reading this, like most homeless people don't choose to be homeless. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna be homeless. Like they literally, you gotta think about the situation. Obviously, like there's requirements to be a part of these programs, basic requirements, but they probably don't meet these basic requirements and they can't get into the program. So it's easy to talk from a place of like, you know, not ever having experienced that or whatever, but it's crazy, man. I feel like, I don't know. Like, what do you think would be the most effective way to help homeless people while you're in Germany? If you see somebody, because I know like if the homeless population in America got a lot of people from foreign countries to give them money out of like pity. I already know that shit happens in Germany, man. Like, especially around, like, I'm pretty sure around airports in Germany, there's probably a lot of homeless people like in the area nearby, you know, because, or like in major cities or areas that are heavily densely populated with tourists, because tourists in general worldwide are like way more likely to feel generous enough to give a homeless person money than locals, you know, because locals kind of get a good feel for who's there and who's doing it because they need it and who's doing it because they just want to pull a fast one on people. It's very crazy. Dang, the people are getting mad, like ignorant. What dream world do you think Germany live in? Do you think these people chose this life? Boom. Awesome. Okay, my kind fellow, story time. In my teens, I met up with my friends in the city every day. I knew a lot of homeless people too, and yes, many of them chose to live like that. Some were alcoholic or junkies, and the rest were part of a gang. The last one were mostly women, sometimes with children, who sat on the street and begged for money. At night, they were taken back by a high-class Mercedes-Benz, and you know, they didn't get any of that money. Next thing is, in Germany, all you need is a postal address. You can get these for 30 euro or something like that in the Beggaramt. After that, you receive a Herzfia. Herzfia. With this, you can get a small apartment. Boom. No longer homeless. All you have to do is put some effort in. I know our bureaucracy is horrible, and it may take a few weeks, but it's possible nonetheless. Boom. And then here's a rebuttal to that. That is only true for people who have lived in Germany long enough and worked legally long enough to be eligible for Herzfia, and also those who have the mental means to go through the process. Untreated mental health issues can make what you perceive as an easy task impossible for others. I do agree that the majority choose to be on the streets for whatever reason or a part of gangs voluntarily or involuntarily, but that's not always the case. Boom. True. Mental illness or drugs can make people incapable. Unfortunately, you can't say if a person is in need or a gang member. I usually don't give money to the women I mentioned. I once knew a homeless young man with a dog. After school, I went to the supermarket, got some snacks for us and for the dog. He was always thankful, and we ate together on his blanket. He told me that it was his choice and that he is grateful for any help. Money is good, but people rarely have any food or offered help. Just flipped a coin on his blanket without looking or stopping. I found this. It's in German, but maybe there's a way to translate it. Oh shit. Oh, some dude, just talk to them. That's another thing too. I think sitting down and having a conversation with people who are in those situations are, you know, it's very eye-opening to kind of see like if they're choosing to be there or if it's kind of like a dang, like a gee whiz, like, oh, okay, like you definitely really need help. Baden-Württemberg. If you believe all of the homeless assume they are genuinely homeless. Arrived at that stage with zero influences from personal life choices, then what dream world do you live in? Or rather, do you believe the world is made up of black and white binaries instead of spectrum? And what dream world do you live in? Because as I hail from a country where there are zero help and zero safety net, Germany is providing ample help in comparison. Wait a minute, who's he responding to? Okay. Boom. Someone says don't do it. Additionally, no one in Germany needs to live in the streets. They're either scammers, mentally ill, people who need something else other than money, or who need something else than money, or hard alcoholics who can't even walk to an ATM, so probably only use your money to drink even more. Oh dang. Boom. This is the last one we'll read and we'll go from there. I feel bad to see so much poverty on the streets, but I'm never giving them anything. All reasons for this have already been mentioned, with the primary reason being that these people may actually be working for a clan, or may even start to get violent and want more money. Also, there is the common belief that they spend the money they get only on alcohol or going to the casino. So if you really want to give them something, it should never be money, but rather food or water. Although I heard from a few people already who actually bought food and the beggars just threw it away angrily. As I mentioned, man, it's a crazy world out there. As this video comes to a conclusion, I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, how do you guys feel about this topic? It's very interesting, and I guess when you think about it, that's kind of like how it is, you know. It's a very, very sensitive subject for a lot of people, but let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. Begging culture in Germany. Do you help people who are begging, or do you walk past and let them figure it out? Very, very complicated answers, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. That's pretty much it. See you guys later. Bis später, Leute. Ich liebe euch. Ciao.
Well, 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 what a pleasure it is to see all of your beautiful faces at the end of this lovely video.
Subscribe if you haven't already.
I'm sure you know, as I've mentioned in the past, we do have a Discord that's linked in the description down below, and we would love to have you a part of the world's greatest community ever, Bray Gang. Yes, if you've made it to this point in the video, you're officially a part of the community. So go ahead, join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. And we also have other social media as well, like Instagram, Twitter. We're live. We go live on Twitch quite often as well. So it would behoove you to, go ahead and subscribe to the Twitch channel at twitch.tv/JamesBrayGang. Join the cause and be a part of the greatest, literally the greatest community ever. Okay, it's simple. Just go ahead and do those little things. We're trying to grow on all these little platforms and everything, and it really means a lot. Now, I know you guys stumbled up across the channel and you're like, what does this guy post? Like, what kind of content does he post? Reactions, vlogs, pretty much whatever comes to my mind. All right, it's random content. I don't know what I'm gonna be posting 10 years from now, but I do know that you can stick along for the journey, and it really means a lot. Now, for every single person that subscribes and follows all of the accounts that I have made, and all the links will be in the description down below, that's an automatic entry for any future giveaways I decide to have. I'll remind you when the giveaways take place, but you'll be surprised what I will be giving away because you guys have supported me so much up to this point, and it's only right that I do the same thing back. Thank you guys so much for being amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.